In autumn, the days are getting shorter and the weather isn't so warm. Most of the harvest has been brought in, but there's still a lot of work to be done. Farmers plough up the land for several reasons. It lets air into the soil, breaks it up so water can drain down through it, and of course, it's how they begin to sow the seed for next year. Gulls love ploughing time. For them, it's a bit like being let loose in a sweetie shop. Lots of juicy worms and crunchy beetles to eat. Autumn is also when the potato or tatty harvest comes in. The first stage is to cut back the shaws, what's left of the green part of the potato plant that grows above the ground. In the old days, potatoes were such an important food that children in Scotland were given time off school to go and help pick them by hand. It was known as the tatty holidays, and although these big machines do the job nowadays, you still get the tatty holidays in October. The tatty harvesters scoop up the potatoes out of the ground. The potatoes then get carried up this conveyor belt and through a little tent at the back of the machine where workers remove any bad or damaged tatties. The sorted tatties are then transferred into these big wooden tatty boxes and taken away to be washed, packed and delivered to the shops. Livestock farmers have a harvest too. It's the time of year when the young animals they've bred on their farms are taken to market to be sold. In Scotland, the place where animals are bought and sold is called a mart, and the type of sale is known as an auction. The sheep and cattle are brought to the mart and put into pens, little fenced-off areas. Animals tend to be sold in groups known as lots. The lots are allowed into the auction ring so the buyers have a chance to get a good look at them. The auctioneer starts at a low price and then works up. Every time a buyer waves a finger or a programme or winks or nods, they're agreeing to pay a higher price. When the price has gone as high as it's going to, then the auctioneer brings down his hammer and the buyer who has offered to pay the most money for that lot has officially bought the animals. So that they know who's bought them, the animals are painted with the buyer's mark and then taken away. Thousands of animals can pass through this mart every week. All birds lay eggs, but chickens have been specially developed by farmers to lay a lot of eggs. In the wild, chickens only lay about 20 eggs a year, but farmyard chickens can lay over 300 in a year. Most chickens in Scotland are kept in sheds and live inside these cages. They're warm and safe, well fed, and it's easy for the farmers to see whether they're healthy or not. On some farms, chickens are able to get outside into the fresh air. Eggs from these chickens are called free-range eggs. When the chickens in the cages lay their eggs, they roll down onto this little conveyor belt which carries them into the packing plant. There the eggs are cleaned and disinfected. Then this clever machine taps every shell to check for any cracks. They're then packed into boxes, either by hand or by machine, ready to go off to the shops. In Britain, we eat more than 10 billion eggs a year. That's 10,000 million eggs. And what goes nicely with eggs? Well, how about bacon? Bacon comes from pigs. Now, a cow is pregnant with its calf for 9 months. A red deer hind carries a calf for 8. With sheep, it's 5 months. And with pigs, it's the 3 threes. 3 months, 3 weeks, and 3 days. The piglets stay with their mother for about 4 weeks until they become what are known as weaners. At this age, they'll follow a bucket of food away from their mums and into another pen. All they have to do then is grow bigger. When they're fattened up, the fattest ones are called baconers, and the not quite so fat ones are called porkers. These are outdoor pigs. Their houses are called arks. Despite what people say, pigs are actually quite clean animals. They're also very intelligent, and just like us, they have to be careful on hot days, as they can get sunburn too. These are red deer. The red deer farming year starts in the autumn with something called the rut. This is the only time of the year when deer want to breed. The females, the hinds, are divided up into groups of 40 or 50, and then a male deer, a stag, is put in with each group. The stags roar to attract the hinds. The hinds are most attracted to the stags that roar the loudest and most often. Deer are naturally fit and healthy animals, so they don't need much looking after. They're fed on hay and potatoes throughout the winter until the grass starts to grow. These deer calves were born at the end of spring, and they've now been separated from their mothers. The young deer grow until they're about 14 months old, when they're killed for their meat. Deer meat is called venison.